We opened our doors to students for the first time in 2010. We're a charter school founded under special legislation because we wanted to be able to accept students based on their audition process, which is a blind process, and based on their passion, promise, and aptitude in either theater, music, visual arts, or dance.
We are providing access to a level of rigorous academics and mastery arts that students might not otherwise have access to in the state of New Mexico. We have always approached this work from the point of view of looking at research, looking at best practices, looking at research-based strategies for helping all students get there and achieve the mission that we have for the school.
And we just were awarded our 6th consecutive A by the state of New Mexico by all of their measures. So we're just confident that if we stick to our game plan of the science of learning, learning in the arts is very, very correlated to the neuroscience of learning. Mr. Newell taught about retrieval practices.
So the retrieval practices is this idea of how do you bring the information to your mind so that you can access it? There are 3 primary ways that the learning sciences have suggested a type of retrieval practice. The first way, there's kind of an idea, it's called everything you know strategy, flashcards, which most people are familiar with. And then the last one is just legitimate practice test questions.
Well, at first when they mentioned the flashcards, I really hated the idea and I was like, why? This is dumb. But then I started getting into it, then it started clicking more.
Initially I got resistance to this whole idea because I think these retrieval practices actually are kind of have this difficulty associated with them. It's a lot more difficult to get the information out of your brain than just to reread notes.
The flashcards, those were definitely very helpful for me. I'd have a little stack of them in my backpack and I would just be able to take them out and just flip through them, which was very easy and convenient for me rather than opening up my notebook, seeing all this lists of definitions that were so complicated and they're all squished together.
He did surveys with students. Which of these retrieval practices helped you learn more?
So when I asked them about how well prepared did you feel going into the test, only about a quarter of the students would say that they felt well prepared. After them using one of these retrieval practices, about 3/4 of my students said that they felt very well prepared going into the test or quiz. These retrieval practices are really strengthening the pathways to memory. And so the more I can help my students with that, then the better I feel as a teacher.
When I heard about these new strategies from Mr. Newell, I kind of used those and I incorporated it into every other subject that I had.
Of course, every teacher wants to use practices that are effective. So what is your goal? What are the roadblocks that you're seeing for your students? And what's not working? Then start brainstorming solutions, looking for research, trying it out, and then continually asking yourself and continually asking your students, survey your students on what strategies in your classroom are helping them learn and which strategies are they finding that aren't working. Even within your own classroom, even if you're the only person in your whole school who's approaching learning this way, you can be doing your own research in that classroom.